everyone to the Lightgate. We are coming to you live from the beautiful city of New Orleans in Louisiana at the United Public Radio Network at 107.7 FM and the UFO Paranormal Radio Network at 105.3 FM. We are coming to you from Facebook, from Roku, from Rumble, and YouTube. It is going to be a very good show tonight. I want to thank our sponsors for our network really quickly. Carnation, thank you, Carnation, for sponsoring our network. We really appreciate your interest in being with us, and we love you. Okay, Preston, I'm going to hand it over to you.
Thank you, Dolly. Thank you, everyone, for joining us for episode number 107 of The Lightgate. I'm your host, Preston Dennett, and my lovely co-host is, of course, Dolly Saffron. We're so excited about tonight's show. Just want to say hello to all you guys in chat. But guess what? Today it's a pre-record. So we're actually going to interact with you guys in chat as this show airs live. But yeah, we're doing a pre-record because our guest is in a different time zone. And I'm super excited to talk to her. She's such a lovely person and has had so many amazing experiences. Our guest tonight is, of course, Paola Rottermann. Let me tell you a little bit about her. If you haven't heard of her, she is quite active on social media, so perhaps you have. She's had some amazing experiences. Paola was born in 1976 in Bogota, Colombia, all the way in South America. She's the eldest of 4 sisters. I love that. I have a lot of brothers and sisters, so I always love hearing about people from large families. She studied in a French school in Bogota, where she learned both French and English. When she was 7 years old, Paola experienced what she described as a download. I can't wait to hear about that. After she saw a picture of an ET craft in a book. How interesting is that? That day, her research on the ET phenomenon started. She felt lonely in a city and family where no one talked about non-human intelligence. I know what that feels like. Then she began having recurrent experiences during her sleep where she was taken inside a craft to be part of what looked like a hybridization program. So interesting. After graduating from school, Paola started her BA in journalism and social communication, and at the age of 21, she left Colombia and went to live in Israel in 1999. Her sightings started about 3 years ago. Together with her son, Paola shares ET content in many pages around the world. Last year, she became a member of the UFO Man podcast team in YouTube. She is active on several Facebook pages like Bob Lazar and Beyond, UFO UAP Disclosure Australia, NHI Realities Ascension and Beyond, UFO Man Nation, and she has a favorite quote, which I love, which is, "1 second it takes for your life to break. Life must fly as a dragon in the sky." How cool is that? That's an amazing quote. We're very, very excited to have her tonight. I've been aware of her for quite some time. So yeah, again, this is a pre-record. Her internet is a little spotty, so we're trying to get her in this second. Now she popped in and out, so just be patient with us.
Here we go.
Here we go. So let's bring her in.
Hi, Paola.
Hello, my dear friend. How are you doing?
Yes.
Thank you so much for joining us tonight. It's such an honor, such a delight.
Yes, absolutely.
Thank you. The honor is mine. I can't be more excited to see you and talk with you and share with you and listen from you and learn from you. So thank you so much for the invite. You are the best. I love you very much.
Oh, we love you too.
I'll be right back. That's exactly correct.
Yeah, so I'm excited to hear about your experiences. They sound very interesting. I love that you're the eldest of 4, having a large family.
Oh my God.
I have 3 older brothers.
Yeah, I was thinking about my sisters, and as long as I remember, I've been the only one talking about strange things and feelings, um, especially during the nights when I go to sleep, like something touching my legs or my body, or feeling this presence next to my bed. So I usually used to sleep covered, you know, from head to toe because I was so scared to look outside. I knew
Oh.
there was something there. And I felt very frustrated because even if I wanted to scream, what could I say to my parents? There's something there, but there's nothing to see. It's just that feeling. So, and no one was talking about it. So
Hmm.
I said, it's probably just, a childish fear for, you know, uh, whatever. But um, I just, I just grew up like that. Um, I remember there was this night. I think um, we were about. I think I was about 12 years old, and I was sleeping already, and some feeling just woke me up. I remember I sat on my bed, and one of my sisters was sleeping in the bed just in front of me. She's like 5 years less than me. And what I see is a giant spider kind of climbing on her bed, trying to grab her and take my
Hmm.
sister with her.
Wow.
Now, I just wanted to scream, but the feeling was again like I was paralyzed. My voice wasn't coming out and I couldn't move my body. I was aware of my environment. I know I'm in my room. I know I'm sitting. I know I was sleeping, but still I'm seeing this spider.
Hmm.
And suddenly everything disappears, you know, just like that.
Wow.
And so I just covered myself
Yeah.
again and went to sleep somehow. I didn't want to deal with what happened there. So, just whatever. I thought I was just dreaming, or, a lucid dream as we called it today, but I don't know. What happened before actually is that when I was 7 years old, my mother was a nurse. She's a nurse. And my father was a pediatrician. And we had a beautiful library in our third floor in our house. And that library was full of medical books. So I could not really understand what was written when I was 7 years old, but I
Mhm.
loved to look at the pictures. Like medicine was so fantastic for me, understanding the body from the inside out, seeing the lungs and the heart. It was so beautiful in my eyes.
Wow.
One day, I just came back from school, and as usual, I picked up one of those books. And as I was expecting to see, as usual, medical stuff. What happened is that when I opened the book, the first image I saw was a triangle shaped craft, a knitted craft. Now I know the triangle ones. Um, and the feeling is like in that exactly moment, it's like someone touched a button. Like I just had I call it a download because the craft was inside my head but I was receiving all these green numbers, kind of a computer running green numbers, green numbers, green numbers. It was like
Wow.
series of 1 and 3s and 0s. And those are my numbers still today. 103, 103. And, I remember I was just in shock, but it's not just a feeling of paralyzing, but it's just seeing with my own eyes how everything around me, like time, stopped. I couldn't hear my grandmother anymore, or the birds outside, or my sisters. We live in a big city in Bogota, so lots of noise, nothing,
Hmm.
quiet, silent. And so these green numbers suddenly were kind of translating inside my brain as images. And so I could see this craft in the book outside planet Earth. And I guess that's the moment where I kind of received, I think, kind of telepathic communication, where I got a message. And the message was sent to this little child, because anyway, I'm 7 years old. So, but the message was kind of, we are a different kind of plane, the planes that this is a different kind of plane, a different kind of technology. And we live outside planet Earth, but we come to visit you.
Wow.
And that's it. In that moment, it's like in the movies, whoop, everything closes. All the sounds came back. I do remember a high pitchy sound in my ear, like a radio sound, very high. And that's it. So I was there like in shock. I stood with the book. I don't understand what's going on. Could I have imagined this like with the spider? But I'm awake. It's not like I just woke up, I just came back from school, so I'm not imagining this. What is wrong? What is going on?
Did you tell anybody about it? Your parents or your sisters?
Well, the truth is that I was expecting from other people to talk about something like that, or seeing a plane with that kind of characteristics. But nothing, not my parents, not my sisters, no plane, no nothing.
Wow.
So I just grew up kind of feeling very alone with this experience, feeling that I really couldn't share it because either people would think I am crazy, or I was trying to understand myself too. So I guess what I did was trying to find some facts around me. We're talking about the 80s in Colombia, so no one was really talking about these things. What you see in the TV was just, so magazines, I was buying lots of magazines or books about talking with your angels and
Wow.
near-death experiences. And so when I was 12 years old, I was already reading about this stuff, trying to understand if maybe all the presences I feel are related to ghosts. I don't know. I was trying to understand.
I've talked to so many people who've, had these experiences, and what you're saying is so familiar to me. It's very isolating. People in your family don't understand, and it sends you on a journey to sort of try to understand what's going on.
Right. I have a question. How psychic are you? Did you understand at a very young age that you had any abilities at all? In other words, were you realizing you were a little bit different than everybody else because you knew things, you had precog, you knew what people were thinking sometimes? Did you have that going on as well?
Yes, I could feel certain things. Sometimes I could tell, I don't know why, but it happened with the phone, for
Mm.
example. I would tell my father the phone is gonna ring. It happens still today with my boy, you know.
Yeah.
Someone's gonna call and the phone just rings immediately. So, first time it's coincidence, second time you say, wow, third time, but after the 15th time, you say, okay, you know, um, like something, something's weird. But I know since I was a little child, my empathy has been something very strong in me.
Okay.
Um, um, like human souls, healing, um, this capacity of supporting people by loving them, not judging. Because me myself, I've went through a lot in my own personal life, very bad things. So I think that's my message, holding hands, love each other. It doesn't matter, your religion, your God, your beliefs, your sexual whatever, like be humane, be empath,
I
help,
love that.
love, support,
Yeah. It's
right?
interesting to me that both your parents were in medicine. Um, uh, my father was not, but my mother leaned in that direction. She probably would have been a great doctor had she pursued it. Her brother, my uncle, was a nurse, almost a nurse practitioner when I was growing up. They didn't have quote the name for it then, but that's what he was. He was a nurse in the war, in the Korean War, and empathy is the very first thing that I experienced in my family life. Everybody's very empathetic. Everybody's a little bit psychic. We don't pay attention uh, to, how do I put this? We don't like it when things are coming in that are against life. That that sort of
Yes,
thing. And it's cool that it sent you on that path, that you have that going on for you. ETs kind of go after people. That's who they're looking at, because you can make the connections with them easier. You're more tuned in
yes.
to learn.
I I I
You
I
know,
feel very deep
yeah,
everything, every person, like the energies around me, Uh,
it's
people
amazing.
sometimes don't need to talk. I can just
You know,
uh, read their body languages, kind of. I don't. I don't know.
you're real psychic. That's why.
That's telepathy.
Absolute telepathy. You have it. It's all going on. So amazing. Oh, so okay.
I
Don't let
need
me
to
stop you now.
learn more.
Did you ever ask your parents if they had any unusual experiences?
Well, my father was the only one that was talking about weird stuff, more related to, he had some experiences with ghosts and this kind of things. But there was this time that he told me, I don't think he was aware about what he was doing, what we know today about leaving your body,
Right.
maybe astral traveling or this kind of stuff. But once he told me that he remembered he could do it twice. Once he was in Bogota, Colombia, and his sister was talking to their mother that was in another city in Colombia. Okay. My father remembers that he could kind of leave his body, travel to the city where their mother was. So he could actually answer what his sister was saying in Bogota. You know,
Yeah.
he was hearing already all the conversation in both
Wow.
places.
Yeah.
So he could not understand how he did that. But there was this time that he went to sleep, he left his body, he went to see his mother, but he could not find his body back. It took him a while.
Oh, wow.
And that's when he decided, I'm not doing this again. Like, he thought he was going to die. So,
Wow.
thank you very much. It was fun, but thank you. So, yeah, that was it. But I don't think he was really aware of what he was doing. I wish we could have had talked about it more. He died three years ago. So,
Oh.
um, yeah.
I'm sorry.
But I guess I am blessed and glad to know that he could have also these kind of experiences. Um, and actually, I think it gave me also the strength to continue investigating about this because, I grew up, after I ended school, I studied journalism and social communication for 5 years in Colombia. And the ET phenomenon was always with me, especially because in the 90s, we started receiving all these series from the States, like, Star Trek and V. And I said, like, oh my God, like, there are all other people in this world that are aware of extraterrestrials somehow and even are doing movies about it, you know? And when I said to my mom, like, Mom, that's them, you know,
Mm-hmm.
like, and my mom, like, was, no, this is Hollywood, no, come on. And I was like, no, Mom, they are here. They come, they visit us. And I had a message from them. I saw their craft. But when they look at you like, okay, maybe she needs like maybe she's not sleeping enough.
Yep.
So I said, okay, let's just leave
Did
it
you ever
like
say that
that.
to your father?
And
Did you ever get a chance to tell your father? I mean, how long that you understood that we were probably being visited? Did you have that conversation?
no,
Oh, um,
unfortunately, no, because he got um, ill from Alzheimer's in a very early age. And, you know, unfortunately, I could not even go to Colombia and say goodbye and hug him for the last
oh my
time.
Oh.
goodness. Okay.
So the last years were kind of more dealing with the illness and all the Alzheimer's. And um, it was, I guess, pretty hard to see how such a beautiful doctor, pediatrician, he loved kids so much, was just losing his mind. And
Yeah.
but now he's okay, he's better, he made a beautiful transition and he's watching on me. I feel him all the time, he's sending messages and
Oh.
you know he's watching on us.
That's
And again, he's part of this journey anyway, because his experiences gave me the strength also to believe in what I am doing today.
yeah.
I guess what happens is that in my case, this is kind of a process, and um, confirmations come all the time.
Yeah.
When I went to the university, I left Bogota and I came to live in Israel. And that was the first time I heard Bob Lazar talking. Now, I don't want to say he's right, he's wrong, but for me, it was a confirmation that, and not only a confirmation, this guy is saying that he comes from the government, and we don't know about this. Like, what? Like, this is huge.
Right. Bob Lazar
Like,
is right,
this
by the
is,
way. He
Yeah,
knows what he's talking about.
yes,
I think
I
so.
totally agree. I
Yeah.
totally agree. I
Yeah.
totally agree. You know, what we've been hearing in the hearings lately and all the information we've been getting. Well, Lazar has been talking about this for years, you know? And so I said, okay, so, as a journalist, I think my boom was, when this was related to the government, I said, okay, no, I need to start researching. And um that's how I found MUFON. And I started looking for the different pages all over the world. That's how I found you guys, and I've been following you for years.
Wow. I'm
Yes.
curious, what brought you to Israel? How did you come to go over?
Well, I guess, I had a really bad experience in Colombia before coming here. But I think the main thing was the fact that it's a beautiful country. Beautiful. But the insecurity and the lack of jobs, and I didn't see a future there.
I
And
see.
so, um, being born in a little Jewish community in Bogota, we see Israel as our homeland.
Right.
And I felt like Israel was the perfect place. And I said, let's go. I never was here before. That was crazy. My parents
Right.
said, like, what the hell are you doing? Can't you go like to Mexico? Yeah, like, go to Mexico, like, maybe Argentina, Israel. That's the other side of the world. But I said, yes, something is calling me there.
I almost did it.
And so,
My aunt and uncle went to Israel. Okay, and when they came back, the very first thing she did, she looked me dead in the face and she said, "That should be home for you. I know this." And I said, "Why?" And she said, "Just because I have a feeling you need to be there." And I looked at her and I said, "Well, if that's where life takes me, that's where I'll end up." And what she didn't realize she was saying to me, and now I'm going to say to you, is once you start having contact, they will direct you in a path where you're the most needed. Okay. And my path went in a different direction, but I've always thought about it, that I needed to go somewhere where it was needed. Okay. And I have a feeling that you ended up there for that exact reason. Okay. Because I've noticed everybody who's talking about this worldwide, those that are stepping up are impacted in ways that are outside the norm. Okay. That they're
yes,
not communicating just because that's where they live and that's how they live their life. Something catalyzed them into it. Okay. And I'm
yes,
fascinated
Wow.
with your story because of that, because you literally went from Bogota, Colombia, all the way to Israel. Okay. And it's like, oh my, and you're talking and you took journalism, a communicator. Okay. And this is what drives you, and you have like a singularity going on to know the answers. And that's fantastic.
Wow. That makes sense to me. I never thought of it that way because I worked in a company for 35 years that I wasn't super happy with, but I was needed there. I met so many people who needed to hear about UFOs. I met so many people who
yes,
had experiences. And
Yeah,
finally, I realized, no, it's time for me to leave. Yeah, I totally get that,
yes,
Dolly. We're guided,
we are guided
to where
by
we're.
the
yes. I so feel what you are saying,
yeah.
because especially here in Israel, everything is a bunker. And if all over the world is difficult to find kind of the best information that we can, here in Israel, like trying to find information is kind of impossible. Um, so I think right now I am the only one that has got this opportunity to put myself out broad, all over the world, even on YouTube,
Right.
giving this message not only from Israel to the world, but from the world to Israel. Because here, this issue is still very much a taboo, you know,
Wow.
also because of the religious, issues and everything.
Yep.
So it's super important. It's so critical. And as you said, Dolly, it's been a process because only when I came to Israel, I started having like this second step in my process, which is this, I call it maybe a transportation, like a teletransportation somehow. You know, um, it happens when I go to sleep, and it usually happens after tracking it. Now I know it always happened during my ovulation cycles. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, and actually, after I came to Israel, and remind me this later because I can't forget. After I came to Israel, I started having these very hard headaches. Like it was not a migraine; it was a 24/7
Mm.
headache. You know, for 4 years.
Wow.
So, in one hand, when I go to sleep, I'm aware that I am sleeping, but the feeling is like something took me and put me in another land. It's like I land there. So I'm aware I'm sleeping, but in the other hand, I am aware that, like, how the hell did I get here? Like, what happened in a
Yeah.
second? And I am in a red desert, kind of the Australian red sand, kind
Oh,
of a Martian soil. I can see only like uh, mountains, rocky mountains, and this red sand. It also reminds me very much here in Israel, the Dead Sea area,
Yeah.
all these desert mountains, so red sands, beautiful. But I was lost and um kind of confused. So I started walking and I said, okay, what do I need to I had a feeling like I need to do something, but I don't understand what. I just started walking and walking and walking. I don't have a feeling of cold or hot. It was a very nice weather, windy, but nice. Suddenly, very far away, I see a figure. This figure just comes towards me. The more he approaches or it approaches, um, I noticed that he's not really walking. It's like kind of hovering towards me. Um, and but he it looks humanoid. So I was so happy. I said, "Oh my God, perfect! I can ask where am I? What am I doing here? And like, what
is
the
this
hell
the
is going
picture that you
on?"
drew of this?
Yes, that's the one. When this figure comes in front of me, I can see, as you see in my drawing,
Yeah.
this looks like a little child. This is a 5, 6 years old child. So I was in shock because How is this little boy in the middle of the desert? I don't see a family, I don't see a home. So and my instinct was like immediately, like this motherhood instinct was immediately turned on. I felt like this boy was my boy, and now I need to take care of him, find a safe place, and just, try to understand what's going on. Um, this little boy raises his hand. So I take his hand and I start walking together with him. I think I'm guiding him, but actually he is the one taking me to this place in the middle of the desert where we see a tent. This looks like a biblical tent, like the Jesus and Moses tents, a
Yeah.
simple
Nomadic
tent.
tent. Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
super
Here's your, yeah.
simple. Exactly, like that for 10 people. I
Mhm.
said, okay, this is so weird because, no noises, no nothing, but at least we have a shelter and maybe his family is here. So he gets me inside the tent. He opens the tent. We go inside. And I guess that was the shock of my life because um, I realized that first the eyes of this boy were so big, you know, kind of the grays eyes, those almond gray, black eyes, huge. So it looks very humanoid, but those eyes are so gray. We go inside the tent and everything changes. Um, this place is huge. It's a round place. I can see two floors. The second floor is, if you imagine, kind of black smoked windows all around. And in the first floor, I can see 50 beds. It looks like an ER place.
Yep.
Um, and a very bright white light that comes from the middle. And I don't understand where this light comes from because I don't see switches or, cables or like, but, hold on. I just came from outside, you know, it was a tent. So what the hell is going on?
Yep.
Right.
So,
Yep.
I'm so anguished and like, this is crazy. And suddenly in my left side, there is this Lego cube structure with an entity sitting there. It looks like an hologram. And this entity talks to me for the first time, again, telepathically. And he says, we are glad you are here because you are the only one that can help us and save us right now. And I was like, what? Like, what are you talking? Like, who are you guys? How did this happen, And my head is like going crazy. This little boy that picked me up in the desert, he's got this kind of, he kind of can calm me down. He took my hand again. And I realized that I need to take care of him again. So I came back to, I need to concentrate. He raises his hand again. And now when I see in each one of those beds a woman in, pregnant or in different stages of giving birth, having birth. And in the middle of this rounded crowd, there is a praying mantis standing there. The praying mantis didn't say nothing. That was like, I felt I was going to faint because,
Yeah.
when you see them in nature, it's beautiful. They look so, it's beautiful. I love it. But when you see them in such a, you know, so high, and the legs and the eyes, and exactly.
Yeah, they're big.
Oh my God. And I think when I just felt in that moment that through her eyes, she looked at me directly inside my eyes, and kind of she said, um, now is the time to do your job. So
Wow.
in that second, I understood that everything I learned about medicine since I was a little child maybe wasn't just because. Maybe this interest came maybe from a past life, but maybe they gave me this knowledge in order to help them somehow. I don't know. I know that I am the kind of person that if I see an accident in the street, I am the first one running and doing what I need to do.
Right.
I've never studied medicine,
Right.
but I will do everything. I don't know how it happened. In that moment, I started running, grabbing in my hands everything I can, checking every single one of those girls.
Mm.
Most, well, some of the babies were already outside the bellies, and some of them were next to the women's bed in little beds. The ones that were outside the bellies already, they all had this characteristic of the huge eyes, as the boy that picked me up. Um, there was a lot of stress and pain, well, kind of, they are in labor, so it hurts, you know. Um, but when you see 50 of them in this situation now, I remember next to those beds were also kind of those, like the little grays. Like
Mhm.
when you think about Skinny Bob, see, you know, yeah, these little grays also with the huge eyes, but they were very little. I didn't have a communication with them. I know I checked every single baby, every single woman. And after I finished, I just, in a second, go back to my bed and I immediately wake up. It's like the same way I was transported to that place. I come back and I wake up and I feel so anguished and lost. And what happened? And I need to start remembering, I try to remember all the time new details. Maybe I had a new message. Maybe I can understand something else. Um, One of those times I woke up so lost. I made a coffee and I suddenly looked at my leg and I saw this weird mark. It was so weird because it happened just exactly because after I came back from this experience, and I never saw a mark like that. Um, Looking for information about it, I know that Terry Lovelace's mark looks very much alike. It looks like a cat paw or a dog paw. I didn't feel any, hurt or something. I was looking all over my body. I felt maybe I thought maybe it was an allergy, and maybe I would have like other, marks on my nothing, nothing at all. And it took about 24 hours for it to disappear.
Yeah, you know how I know that is probably ET related is because when people do get marks on their body, they heal very quickly overnight. People will see it,
Yes,
then it's gone.
yeah, and I have two cats. So and it looks like a cat paw. So I said maybe one of my cats slept over me and but how long can a cat put the paw on your leg? You know,
Right.
in order for this to be there, like, it was so weird. Yeah, I
Yeah.
I couldn't understand.
Wow.
So that's on the
And
side of your thigh? Was that on the side
yeah,
of your thigh? Okay.
yes,
Which thigh? Right or left?
it was the left one.
Okay. Are you right-handed?
Yes.
Yeah. You ever feel like something's still there? Seriously, you
Well,
Like an implant, you mean?
not in the left leg, but there is a kind of a protuberation in my right leg and also in my left hand. If you see over here, I have a protuberation. I
hmm
need to check these because I don't know. Maybe it can be something, just a cyst. But now that we are talking about it, in 2006, I had two brain operations
Okay.
because of the headaches that I mentioned before.
Okay.
So I went to the ER this time. I felt so bad. I almost fainted because of the headache. And they did an MRI. The doctor told me, listen, you have two cysts in your head. One is in your left side. It's the size of a tennis ball, and she's
Oh,
pressuring your brain. You are almost losing your left eye. Okay. We need to operate as soon as possible. They needed to open the head in
Right.
order to get to that cyst.
Okay.
But in the other hand, you have another cyst in your pituitary gland. Now, the pituitary gland, she's responsible for our hormones in
Right.
our body,
Right.
our ovulation cycles,
Right.
again related to my ovulation cycle. And this pituitary gland is just behind your nose, between the two eyes.
Right.
So the only way to take that cyst from the pituitary gland was through my nose.
Yep.
This thing during the operation exploded,
Ugh.
and all the fluids from my brain were just, flowing from my
Running out. Yep.
nose.
Yep.
They,
wow.
I almost died during the operation, but very quickly they glued everything, and they saved my life. Afterwards, the doctor came to me and told me, I don't know how this happened. I don't have an explanation. But in your pituitary cyst, we found what looks like a little cube.
Hmm.
We don't know what it was doing there, but the moment we tried to get this out, everything exploded. That's why we needed to do all these emergency things.
Yeah.
So whatever that cube was, I don't have it. I
Did
don't know. I
Did
don't.
they take it out?
They took it out.
And they
Yes.
wouldn't let you have it.
No.
Huh.
They said that it exploded and
The cube
they don't
exploded
have
or the
it.
cyst exploded?
All of it.
All of it.
Wow.
Wow, that's interesting. Sometimes
Yes.
we can have, okay, I'm a registered nurse, so sometimes we can have cysts in weird places in our body. It's usually our abdominal cavities, sometimes in the brain or the neck or the thyroid or the,
Yeah.
and they have material in them that actually have cells that become parts of a body. It's not like you have a twin or anything. It's just that those cells will develop into things like teeth and bone and hair.
Yes.
I mean, it's really weird how that happens, because the cell gets confused
Yes.
and it becomes that body part. But I've never, ever, not one time, ever read about it, heard about it, nothing, heard about a cube, ever. That is just like, wow. That's blowing my mind. I
Yeah.
mean, wow.
Yes.
Incredible.
Yeah. I was so, maybe, I was thinking maybe when maybe my mother ate something while she was pregnant, but it's
No.
again, it's like that's why I call this a process, and I'm getting all the time confirmations about my story.
Yeah.
But it took so much, I'm 49 years old now. This started when I was 7, and only recently I'm talking about my story because it takes also time to be also brave enough to face those that still think that this is a joke,
No,
you
it's not.
know?
No, it's not.
And
You got real issues.
it's not
It's real.
exactly,
Yeah.
it is. And actually, what started happening after that is that um, we, I say we because my son now is part of this too. We started having our first sightings together 3 years ago, and so my boy can see those crafts too. The first one we saw was in his birthday. Actually, it was a beautiful craft, a
It was on his
golden.
birthday, you said?
Yes,
Oh,
in
wow.
his birthday,
Yeah, that's
first
significant.
sighting. Yes,
Yeah, I
right.
had a major experience on my birthday, and I've noticed that with other people. They do that on purpose.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was so amazed. I said, "Oh my God!" And especially today, and this gold. I've never seen a gold like that. Beautiful golden crab. And I asked him, "Can you see it?" And he said, "Yes, Mom, that's them."
What year was it?
He's been.
What year was it
This
that you saw them?
was. We are in 25. Well, 23, I guess.
Okay.
22, 22, 23.
Okay. Wow. Did you see a shape or is it just the color, the light?
That one was, well, it looked metallic, but no, no. I don't see it. It was like rounded, kind of a rounded thing, but not really. But we've seen so many things,
Preston, pull a
you
picture
know.
up of Paola and show her.
Of Talata?
Yeah.
All right, that's
He's
going to
got
take
his
me.
big golden light on. Show her that one.
All right, give me a second. That's going to take me a little bit here.
It's a still, not a film.
All right, keep going because I have to.
Yeah, I
I
want
have
to
to
show
search
you
for
my
the.
craft.
And
Yeah.
what's beautiful about this is that, of course, my boy hears me talking about the phenomenon and he's
Right.
very aware about it. But even before he had my awareness, he was already drawing
Yeah,
this
there you go.
craft
Yeah.
from the kindergarten. And I was asking him, like, where do you have this idea from? Like, I don't know. I just know. No,
How old is he now?
he's 10. Now he's 10. He looks like these tall, blonde whites. with these huge blue eyes, and this
Yeah.
blonde. Yeah, he's,
That's funny. That's
yeah,
incredible.
I love him so much. Well, he was, I brought him to this world with IVF. That was a whole procedure and a whole story too. Sometimes I ask myself if maybe I wasn't one of those women in those beds. Um, how did I get there? Why
There
why
you go.
me?
That's a lot of.
Oh my God, I will send you my pictures. Oh, maybe I can send it to you
Put it on
in
Messenger. I'll pull it up.
yes. That's so beautiful. Yes, it looks like fire.
Yep.
Yeah,
And
there's something.
the feeling is so peaceful,
Right. They would
so
have, if they
calm.
were coming on his birthday and showing themselves to y'all and to him, they would have been broadcasting. And that's exactly what you would have
And
picked up.
you too, guys, happy birthday. Oh my God, we
Thank you.
need to celebrate. Have a
It's
beautiful
crazy, isn't it? Yeah,
year.
I know. It's
Yeah,
so
I love that feeling when I see a, a craft or these guys, because you get a sense of them saying hello, you know, and this feeling
Yes,
comes over you like that they know about you, that
yes,
they're absolutely communicating
you
somehow.
are us,
yes.
we are you, and we are one. That is the message.
Yes, it's,
That's
it's
it.
it's that feeling of they are aware, you are not just like a um
Family. Yeah,
yeah, you are not just like a bird on the tree. We are aware that they are aware of everything.
very much
I,
so.
I
Yeah.
that's my feeling. So I think what I've learned from all these experiences, our voice is so important because it's for sure not coming from the government, whatever disclosure means. Our experiences are ours and are our truth and our voice and our way to compare um, and share and understand our feelings and our own experiences. And I wish people would share much more, be more like less afraid of doing this step forward. And I hope maybe someday we will get to the Congress and have our experiencers hearing. You know?
Yeah, they're bringing on all kinds of whistleblowers, but they're not really talking to contactees yet,
No, not
which
at
is
all.
where you get
Yeah,
all the
yeah.
answers. That's where the truth is.
Like
That's the
that.
cutting edge
Look,
of UFO
that looks so
research.
far away. Yeah, it looks so far away, but that's why I guess we are doing the beautiful and hard job, like kind of from the underground.
Yeah,
We
exactly.
are like flowers. We will bloom, and you know, it's a process
Yeah.
for everything, for the whole
So
community, for each one of us.
Now, since you've been broadcasting and are podcasting from Israel, have you met anybody there who have experiences and want to talk to you about it, or are you totally getting people from other places other than where you're at now? I'd be curious to see if it's spreading.
Well, I am friends of Yossi Ronan. Yossi Ronan,
ah,
yeah,
Okay, fantastic.
Yossi's got yes, and he's a
yeah, I want to get him on
beautiful.
the show too.
Well, let me know if you need help contacting him because for me it's just like sending him the message and that's it. It's like um I am so proud of Yossi. He's been doing an amazing job with his experience and sharing in his book. He's also part of, also with you, Preston, in A Greater Reality, the film of Rainier Hernandez.
Yeah.
And so Ray's an amazing guy too. So again, there are people that talk about it, and there are many that just don't. We had also a really weird case here. You should listen about this because this girl was related to the ET community here. We've even had her in some meetings with MUFON meetings and whatever. And well, she just did something really bad. She got kind of into a psychotic attack and she killed someone. I just don't want to go too much
wow.
inside the story. Yeah.
Oh, wow. Oh, my.
Yeah, well, actually it was her son.
Yeah.
And what she said is that, well, the aliens gave her this order to kill her son. Now,
Oh,
what was weird for me is that we used to see her, in the community here. So, like, can it be possible?
no.
What really happened there?
You have the same problem. It's worldwide, so don't think you're excluded. You're not isolated from this. There is a worldwide military industrial complex where this is concerned.
Yes.
And they're exerting control over humanity now in ways that are according how I feel about it is that they're flying a false flag. They're showing that there could be problems coming. They're trying to paint ET as bad, okay? And they use operatives to, what's the word? Get a hold of people who are genuinely contactees and turn them around and put them another way from it, okay?
Yeah.
It is unbelievably disconcerting to me that this is occurring. And I know it happens where you're at too, because control for you there is very important because of the landmass that you're on, okay? It's a critical area according to how they feel about it, okay? And we call it being my lab here. It's military intelligence, lab.
Abducting.
Yeah. Now get a hold of a contactee and then work on them and twist them and drive them crazy. And then what you're talking about occurs. They lose it. They go crazy. They go rogue. And then they blame ET for it because they're programmed to do that. It's happening more and more, especially here and other places in Europe. I'm hearing it more and more and more. When you start to hear people talk about the horrors of ET and the hell and the Galactic Federation and all that stuff, that's all things that are used to make people afraid of them and make people think that ET is coming to hurt them. Okay?
Yes.
It is a false flag. And people like you and me and others like us know better. Okay? And one of the reasons it's important for us to be talking right now and communicating the truth to others is this exact issue. Okay?
Yes.
It would be, it is serious, and they have their reasons for doing it. And I'm not so sure because you're isolated, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Why?
Yes, of course.
But they have their reasons. And if you watch what's happening globally to everybody, you can see that we're all pretty much either in the hot seat being attacked or getting ready to attack. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
They're trying to start a world war. And they're dividing people and they're causing all kinds of problems. And I'm not going to get political about this. That's not my intention. What I am going to say is that I need I want people to stand back and really look at the whole situation and ask yourself, what are we
Exactly.
doing? Why do I feel the way I do? What's causing me to have all this angst, anger, and hate? Especially people who are in the middle of that and wondering why I'm so different from everybody else. You're not. ET's message has never been that. We are the same thing. Like I said earlier, we are you, you are us, we are all one.
It's all about love.
Exactly.
Exactly. And we're starting, I'm not kidding you. This community is being divided as well. Okay. The ufology
Yes.
is being divided
Yes.
as well. There are huge factions
Oh
going
my
on,
God.
even within the communities. And that is disconcerting to me as well. And then I see operatives like the government saying, you want disclosure, but they don't give you disclosure. They give you, they give you nothing. No real information.
Well, it's all
And
about fear.
right,
That's what they're
exactly.
trying to put.
Yes.
And the only people who are talking are operatives. Whistleblower is a real name for operative. Okay. If this is a government worker and he's a whistleblower, ask yourself why. Why are you the only one with a mouth talking about this? When ETs have
Yes.
been around forever, they've been talking to everybody, especially experiencers who've been talking about this forever, and you're listening to them. What's going on with you?
Yes.
Now you tell me this story, and this is like, oh, this is tragic. This is sad, that this poor person has had that happen to them. I mean,
Yes.
and I guarantee you they're going to
Yes.
treat her as crazy, psychotic, schizophrenic, all kinds of stuff. I mean, and not go to, but the UFO communities might use it as a warning sign, and the government's going to go pure intent, and then what's the word that they use? National emergency. It's a security, national
Yes.
security emergency, and it's
Yeah,
like
national
not.
security matters.
Yeah,
Yes.
no, because they're not coming here and attacking us, but you're making up all these issues to make everybody think that they are, and they're not.
Yeah, no, it's all about healing. In fact, I want to bring up an image here, which I wonder if you know this guy, Adrian DeVere. He was very active in Israel and wrote a book called Healing Entities and ETs.
No, I don't know him. Interesting.
Yeah, he passed away some time ago, but he was stationed in Israel and opened up a whole clinic where he brought in people who were contactees. This is all in Israel, and had them healing
Really?
people.
Yeah.
So
Would
yeah,
you
this
like the book? We will make sure you get it.
Yeah, it's called Healing Entities.
Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah, we're going to send you
Yeah.
some information. We'll send you this. Okay.
He was
Oh,
very
thank you
active.
so much.
There's not a whole lot of
Oh,
books
I
out there
didn't
about
know.
healing, and that's really one of their main, missions here on Earth is healing. So he had a huge influence. There's not a whole lot of information about, how much healing these ETs do. So I was really pleased to see like
Yes.
he's working hard. Sadly, yeah, he passed away, but I was wondering if you knew of him.
Oh,
'Cause,
that's
yeah,
so amazing. Well, here over than Yossi, I've been in touch with people that were in different locations where strange things happen. Unfortunately, these investigators were, well, time has gone by, and like we have the pictures and we have the sketches and we have um I'm working together with a filmmaker that lives here in Israel. He comes from Belgium, on a site called Extrater Israel, and we have there all the videos that all the evidence that we've had all over the years here in Israel. I will send you the link. It's so interesting. So yeah, there are people here that we are working on it.
I would
But
love to be able to. You ought to ask him if he wants to talk to people here in America about that, and like either come on with us or our producer. I would really love to talk to this person because
the filmmaker, of
nothing from
course.
Israel.
And if you
you know?
try to, I can get you in touch, guys, also with
Okay.
the MUFON CEO. And founder in Israel. He's a very good friend of mine. So yeah, of course, let me know. I guess we need to hold hands all over the world. I
Absolutely.
guess,
Yeah.
I think that's their message, and that's the message I feel I receive from them. And the message is, remember that, it doesn't matter your country or your religion, or you are all earthlings.
Yeah. Human. We're all human.
Exactly.
We are not divided
Exactly.
by race. We are all the same race. We're human.
Exactly.
Right.
So if
Yeah.
you don't start holding hands, this whole thing will go to hell. It's simple, you know, and we need to start changing that. Now, my feeling is that even though, let's say, if they watch on us, okay, on the nuclear sites, and because they won't let us explode the whole thing, but they don't want to interfere and intervene with our own evolution and decisions. We need to learn, but
Right.
we are not
This is
doing
a
a
classroom.
great
Yeah. We're in a giant
job.
classroom here. We have to learn this on our own. We have to do it ourselves.
Exactly, that's my feeling.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know Israel has had a lot of encounters. Here, I'll bring up another slide here, where
Yeah,
let me see if I can pull this up real
really
quick.
interesting. We had
Here
even a
we go.
printing of of a Bigfoot printing.
Oh wow.
Yeah,
Yeah,
there was a lady. Gosh, I forget her name, but she had all kinds of encounters. She went public with it. But yeah, here's one
yeah,
where a UFO landed. There's a lot of activity going on all over the
yes,
world.
and cattle mutilation. We have also a case of cattle mutilation. I will send you all the videos. Again, it's in the Extraterror Israel. You will find the videos in YouTube and in Facebook too.
Wow.
This guy is doing an amazing job. His name is Alan Isaac Rosenfeld, and he's just really gathering all the information that we've had till today.
That's wonderful.
So, yeah, it is. Because not people, we hear a lot about the States and Europe and maybe South America, but about Israel, you don't hear very much, if at all. So, yeah, I will send you all the links, guys.
Yeah, it's funny because people think, oh, UFOs are only seen in the United States. I'm like, no, they're not. I don't know where people get this
No,
idea. No, they're
yeah,
everywhere.
no. They just need to realize that they need to look more into the sky. They are there. No,
Yeah, so would
I
you say
miss them. I
would,
miss them very much. I haven't had a sighting like for 3 months now, and I miss them. Like, where are you? Come and visit me. I have my feelings too.
well, you're still in telepathic contact with them. I think that's what I
Yeah,
always tell people. If you really want to, have an experience, start meditating, reach
Yeah.
out
yeah,
mentally, telepathically, because you can have it in the dream state as well.
Right.
They're always with us.
exactly.
They watch over
Yeah,
us very closely.
Yeah. They know what's going on. They do.
yeah.
And
Yes, agree so much. Yeah, they are there. They are listening, I guess.
So have you
So,
talked with your sisters about all of this? How are they,
oh my God, well, it's been a process, you
Yeah.
know, especially with my mom. Um, I think they support me. Of course, they are super happy that I am doing this, and they see the
Oh, that's good.
process and how I've been growing, not only with myself, but inside the community. They are very proud. But that's it, it's like it's hard for them still to understand the stories and to see it as a real thing.
what kind of
And
what kind of jobs do your sisters have? What did they all do in life? What are they working at?
Both of them are psychologists.
Okay.
There you go.
Good. I got it. Okay.
Yes. And one of them
They're,
is
they're helping
a
people.
journalist as me.
Okay.
Wow. Yeah, this is a
Yeah.
pattern I noticed. People who have contact, or families even, because it is a family thing. People might not be aware of it, but their contactee is generational. It goes,
Yes.
family to family to generation, and they're usually people who are doing good work for humanity in some way. Can be very subtle, raising children or
Yes.
whatever, or educating or
Yeah.
teaching or healing. So that doesn't surprise me at all. But I'm right with you, Polly. When I started researching this subject, my dad was not happy. My older brother,
No.
Mark, one of my brothers, was fine. He had a sighting. But my brother
Yeah.
Jamie and my brother Steven thought I was crazy. I'm like, no, I'm not. No, this is real. My dad never came around. Which is, fine. They like you. They loved me. They supported me. We're a very close family. And they were very happy for me, but they're like, stop talking about UFOs.
Yeah, it's like sometimes I feel like you're talking to like a black hole. It's like, the information, it's not going through somehow. So it's okay, I guess. For
It's
each
a
one of us,
process.
it's a process. Yes, and there are people that get it, there are people that not, and there are people that will never get it, you know, and it's okay. And, it's like
Yeah.
everything.
Well, I think
But
it's
I
important
think we are so blessed. We
because
are so blessed that our button was turned on and 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 we are part of this because when I think about my boy, now he's only 10 years old, but he's got
oh,
this awareness on him inside of his heart and his soul
Mhm.
already. So
Yeah.
I know that no matter what, he can be also a beautiful voice for the community many years ahead. So this is generational within us too.
yeah.
Right.
The more we share this with our kids,
Right.
we can get it further and further. Maybe they will see the disclosure that we talk about,
Yeah.
whatever it means.
Yeah, and it's not everybody's journey to talk about it publicly. That's why I'm so excited that you are,
Yes,
because it takes an enormous amount of courage and strength with so much
yes,
skepticism and ridicule and fear and disbelief. It's very difficult to talk about publicly and put your name out there in your
it
face. So
is. It
thank
is. And
you.
unfortunately, people unfortunately are willing to attack for whatever. You
Yeah.
know, like if I say I'm a journalist, show me your credentials. If I say I live in Israel, well, you're Hitler. If I say I mean, like it doesn't, so by the bottom line, be who you are. Go with your feelings. Respect your feelings and your soul. Respect your experience. And doesn't matter what other people say. There
Right.
are other people in this community ready to hold your hand and hold you and share. And so it is what it is.
Right.
And
There's a move. So you have MUFON in Israel, right?
yes.
Okay. How big is your chapter of MUFON? How many people are involved?
No, I don't know. I don't know right now. I really don't know. I try to share there. I moderate there in the page. The CEO and I are very close, but I'm not watching all the time all these.
Okay.
But it started from nothing,
Wow.
like people here didn't even know what MUFON is.
Yeah.
Tal did just an amazing job. He's an Amufonian investigator, the only one in Israel, actually.
Hmm. Wow.
And yes, And he started from nothing and from a lot of, stigma and whatever. And today he's got hundreds of people, if not thousands already. So we are doing a hard job also doing like trying to not only sharing content, but making some, a congress here and a congress there and trying to bring people to understand more this issue. And it's growing up, but it takes a lot of time. Too much going on.
Yeah.
Too much going on, and
it takes one
it's hard to
person to
focus
really start doing it.
when you're scrambling all the time, that's really hard. I mean, I'm amazed that you all have accomplished this given what's going on anyway, period. That's amazing. Absolutely amazing. That takes tenacity, that's that's amazing.
And even if you reach one person, because not everyone's going to be ready to receive the message, but there are people out there who are so searching, so needing information on this.
Yes.
There's nobody to turn to. There's no
Yes.
recourse, no support system.
Right.
So it's such important work.
Right.
And sometimes these connections happen, that's when you see that nothing is just because. Like 6 months ago, I just went to a store. I wanted to buy to my boy a cell phone. And I remember, or to myself, I don't remember now, but I remember I told the seller that I do podcasts in YouTube, and I was explaining about the podcasts. And suddenly a guy that was standing there, a customer, asked me about why. And I said, well, you don't know if what to say, because about aliens. So I was expecting, like the face, like, but he said, oh my God, are you serious? Oh my God, I need to talk to you. Listen, all my life people think I'm crazy, but I know they are here. I know they come, and he started talking about the Pleiadians and this and there. And he had such a profound knowledge.
Wow.
But this guy has been hospitalized all his life because of this.
Wow.
So
now, are you starting? Yeah. Wait. Are you starting to get more people contact you because of the podcast from the Middle East?
Yes. Yes.
All right.
Yes. And so I've been kind of helping people that didn't know how to go inside, because if you go to TikTok and this, you can find so much AI and whatever, the information. Oh my God. So these people that are finding me are getting information like from you guys, serious people inside the community. So I'm kind of giving them this path how to connect and understand from the right sources.
So important.
Yeah.
Because that's what I love about doing this show, The Lightgate, and everyone who's working on this subject, because it brings us together from all over the world.
Exactly.
We're reaching people in Australia and Canada and Brazil and Argentina.
And in places that you just wouldn't expect, it's like going to the super, you're just talking about it, and suddenly you are a light for someone that was looking for answers for years,
Yeah. We call it synchronicity, but I think it's more guidance.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We're brought together for a reason, because like I said, there's people searching for answers, and their family doesn't understand.
Yes.
I've interviewed so many people who've had experiences, and suddenly they realize, what, I'm with the wrong person. I can't stay married to this person anymore. And they're not ready. They're not ready to grow. And you have to take your own path.
Because I think consciousness becomes something else.
Mm-hmm.
it changes inside of you. Like you see people different, even your closest people, even your family. My sisters, my mother.
Yeah.
There are things that I will stand, and things that I won't stand, and things that I think like this, and things that it's like a deeper understanding of certain things. I don't know how to explain it.
Right.
Yeah.
What do
Not
you think about
everything's guilty.
this? Is kind of out of left field, but what do you think about past lives? Do you have any memories of like past lives?
Wow. Well, that's an amazing question because I remember when I was, I think, I maybe 15, and I read this book, Brian Wise, maybe it's his
Yeah,
family name, Many Lives,
yeah,
Many Masters.
yeah.
That was the first book I read about it, and I was so fascinated. I always said I have to do a regression and see, because I probably will remember something. Um, I believe, you know, yes, we can have like a perspective of what we've done with our lives after we die. Um, I do believe you can reincarnate, but it's so complicated.
Hmm.
Yes, because again, those are realms that,
Yeah.
in one hand, it's kind of, I understand how it works. But in the other hand, when you think about paranormal stuff and ghosts and that, my empathy, I feel, is so deep sometimes that I feel I could connect with those kind of things. And I don't want to, because I don't like
You're
these.
not concerned about it right now. That's why you have other
No,
lives.
no, just leave me with my aliens. I'm happy with them. I, no, I
You don't
don't
want to be
want to.
you don't want to be distracted. Yes, that's okay.
No, I don't like that feeling of, the presence and all the things moving. I no, no,
Yeah, I've
no.
heard other people say that. You know, one lady told me she's having all these experiences with ETs, and sometimes she sees ghosts, but it scares her really bad. She does not want
Yeah,
to deal with that.
no, I don't like it. I don't like it at
Yeah.
all.
See,
But
I grew up like that. I grew up seeing everything all the time. Okay, I was in the soup of it, and I remembered a lot of my lives already before I was even 3 years old. I knew who I was, and I woke up one day and realized, I know who I am. I am. Okay, and I decided that whatever this was that I was doing, I had one way to go and I was going to search that way out. And I just sort of deal with everything else as a result of that. I just like live through it, I swim through it. It's complicated. Use the right word. It's very complicated because when you live in a world where nobody else is doing that, you just sort of go, huh, you know,
yes,
you can't see what I see, you can't hear what I hear, you don't know what I
yeah,
know. And it's like, well, okay, so I'm just going to let you be. I'll let you be. And then it turned into I realized that everybody has a path. They're here to learn what they're here to learn. And if you
right.
distract them or take them away from it, you're not helping them at all. And if you judge them for it, you're really not helping them at all. So just let it be. That just let it go. And
Right.
it's important because you're inner directed, that's for sure. And you know which way you need to go. And nobody has the right to take you off of that at all. Nobody. Not even you,
Yeah.
because you planned this. And
Yeah.
that's what's complicated about it. And it's important
Yeah.
that, you keep doing what you're gonna
That's
do.
very interesting. I wish I could remember. Sometimes I feel maybe all this knowledge about medicine comes from a past life because it's really deep. It's I feel sometimes I'm even ready to do like a surgery.
Yeah.
And I don't, oh my God, God forbid, I cannot. I haven't studied it. But But maybe I was a nurse or a doctor in my past life, and I still
Well, you
hold.
gravitated toward parents who did exactly that. You know,
Yes.
a doctor and a mother who was a nurse. You know, we I do realize this one thing: we're born into families that are the the um the base of who we really are. In other words, they're uniquely qualified to bring you through to whatever it is you're going to go to. Literally uniquely qualified. You can't turn away from your parents at all for that reason. You know, you have to remember that they're your foundation for life and
Yes.
that they are in direct responsibility for teaching you and bringing you up so that you do find your path, so that you do go the way that you're supposed to go. Parents are supposed to realize that they don't belong, your children don't belong to you, that they're coming through you, not, you know, and that it is your responsibility to teach them so that they
Yes.
know which way to go. And
Yes.
you, it is not that complicated when you think about it. And people who have hands off, lackadaisical attitudes toward this amaze me because wow, you know, you
Well, maybe
really
they're not ready yet, you know.
I don't know, you know,
So,
but
so here's my question, Polly. You know, you're having all these experiences, and what decided, what made you decide to like, you know, I need to talk about this. I need to do a podcast. I need to start teaching people.
good
What
question.
brought you from, you know, being like, this is happening to me to telling others? You know what I mean?
Well, again, I think it was a process. I think it everything started when I started going inside all the Facebook pages, comparing the information, comparing the pictures, um, hearing and listening in all the podcasts in YouTube. Um, like I did a huge research like about everyone,
Yeah.
everyone, what he's saying. I had like, I have everything is written, and it looks like psychopath, but
Not quite.
really.
Yeah,
Yes, but if you see all my, and all the names and who did what in 1 year and when the, all the events, and so I think I started by feeling I wanted to have all the knowledge that I could. Then I saw that there were people talking about their experiences. Then I saw that the content that I was sharing in the different pages around the world was the right content, and that people were responding right to that content.
Yeah.
And so, step by step, I was growing in my investigative journalism, and I was growing from the inside too, because every single day gave me the strength to decide with myself, okay, listen, you know what happened to you. This is what you felt. This is what you saw.
right.
And this happened many times. And there are many things related to your story. So this is it. You go for it, you know? And this is who I am. I don't have nothing to hide. I don't have nothing to be ashamed of, you
You
know?
and Preston got a lot in common there. You're describing his journey, literally.
Yeah, I think when you're
Yeah,
doing what you want to do or what you're supposed to do, suddenly the doors open. You feel good. You're like, this is what I'm meant to do.
exactly. And so everything came after another, I started with the Facebook pages, and suddenly I went to YouTube and I understood the way it works. And suddenly they started calling me from YouTube to interviews. And suddenly I am working now in the UFO Man podcast. And I'm part of the team. And now it's huge and it's so critical. This issue is with me 24/7. Every time I have, between missiles. I'm looking what's going on, I need to
Yeah.
share what happened in the hearing, and because a lot is going on every single day. And
Yeah.
I need people to be aware, and this is what's going on, and this is what we're doing. And so join us.
Yeah. We each play, I think, an important critical role. We're like, I don't know, but every single one of us plays a role here. We're all
Yes.
doing very important work. So
Yes, and with so much more, so different perspectives. Um,
Oh, it is, yeah. That's the important part to understand, is that we all see things from our perspective, which is natural. This is how
exactly.
you're supposed to see it. But we're supposed to be in communion with one another so that we can share that information. That
Yeah,
broadens everybody's view. If your
yeah,
perspective is the only thing you see only that. But if you can join with everybody else, you see all of it and you learn from that.
exactly,
It's really important.
exactly.
It's really important. And
Yes, because we can have our own experiences, but still, every single experience is so unique,
right.
and it made feel to this person so many things, for good or for bad, and each one of us take it so differently according to how we were raised and
yeah,
our beliefs. And
Right.
so it depends on so much that there are, it's like you need to really break here so many walls in order to just be free of so many things that you come with them since your childhood,
yeah. Well,
in order
knowledge is
to
our tool.
stay.
Yeah.
The more we
Yes,
learn, I think that's
exactly.
we get stronger
Yeah.
and stronger. And that's why I
And
think it's so interesting that your background is investigative journalism. 'Cause to me, that's guidance. It was, you. It's interesting to me because it's so
yes, it
important for
is,
what you do
because
right
it
now.
was, the last thing I thought in my life I would be doing with my journalism,
Yeah.
They were
was investigating aliens.
he was going to be a writer. It's the last thing he thought he would be writing about.
Yeah,
The last, you know, boop, there it is. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
if I would tell my mother, or if I would say to my mother, then, I'm going to use my journalism to investigate aliens, she would have killed me, you know. So, no, never in my life. No, I thought I was going to be a journalist in Bogota. I was already working in one of the TV networks there, and I was starting, but at some point I said, no, I don't want to be here. You cannot go to the street talking with your cell phone because you get killed. It
Hmm.
doesn't work like that. It's serious. So no, I wanted to try something else, a new, quiet place, and look where I am now, but doesn't matter. uh,
It's not
but
quiet
still,
anywhere, trust me. No,
no, but
no.
no, yeah,
Not
but
today.
still, I don't regret it. I think it was the most wonderful decision, and actually, it's been a part of my process. I don't know if this would have happened if I would have stayed there. There are so many questions that I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, we go where we're needed. I think we're drawn to the place that
Yes,
where we are needed most. So
Exactly.
exactly. That's my feeling.
Now,
so
Preston, when he was younger, before he went full time with us, had another job. What do you do for work other than being the podcasting? What's your job?
Well, when I talked in my about my experience and this little boy, I am so connected to children.
Uh-huh.
Um, it's like this profound feeling of love, and um, this uh, capacity of kind of reading their souls, in their level.
Right.
I love them so much. So I work in a kindergarten.
Wow.
I knew you were going to say that. I had no doubt, because after you told me about being on board with the children and stuff, I thought there is no way she's working at a TV station in my mind. It cannot be,
Yeah,
because you were
no,
literally given information and shown another direction where you need to be.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
That's amazing to me. And it is amazing, because children are the way, they really
I
are.
I believe that too.
They're
Yes.
precious, they're the most impressionable, and you want them to learn the good. You want them to learn the truth. You don't want them to be inundated by things that are harmful to them at all. You're protective. And that is amazing to me that you do that. That good job. I mean, that's what it is.
Thank
Wow.
you so much. Yes, I am so
Okay.
happy. And it's not simple. It's like 28 kids in the ages of 3 and 4.
Wow.
Um, yeah, but they are, oh my God, each one of them is just
Yeah.
a whole world, a beautiful soul.
Yep.
And the fact that you can contribute to these little souls,
That's
to
right.
be good persons, good values, good principles, So
I can just
I
see
am
the
so
love coming out of you right now. You love it, kid.
yes, my God, yeah, my boy, yeah,
That's so amazing to me. When I had my daughter, my brain split, okay? And I thought, I'm now in protective mode, mother mode, okay? And all of a sudden, all the children became important to me. And
yeah,
I went from literally being a nurse to going, nope, not doing that. No, we're going to do this. And I literally started volunteering at the school. I started with her preschool. So her pre-K teacher said, I need you to come and work here to help me out. She said, you have a unique child, and I just think you would do good to do this. Do you want to do it? And I said, yep, okay, no problem. And that's what I did. And then when she started elementary school, what did I do? I started working with the kids in elementary school. I even went to the county and put my application in and got it. And I was a substitute teacher, and I worked all the time with all the
yeah,
elementary school kids. I hung around all these beautiful, beautiful children. And it dawned on me, yeah, I'm supposed to be doing this right now. This is important. I'm learning something from this, and they're learning as well. And I felt very, very protective. And trust me, I had a principal that I drove crazy, because it became a big deal to me. Okay. I did a lot of protecting back then. When Emmy started middle school and high school, guess what mom did? Mom went down there and it went in a weird way, because I started volunteering first, and then I was at work elsewhere. Then I had another job, and I get a call one day, and her bus had been hit by a dump truck.
ooh,
And I never drove so fast in my bloody life. I'm not kidding you. I lived 50 miles from where she was at. I mean, I was working 50 miles from where she was at, and I got there in under an hour. Literally, I
oh
mean,
my
I did 5
God,
minutes flat, got up there. No cop would have saw me. I was in don't see me
Mommy
mode.
mode.
Yeah. And I
yes,
pulled up in time to see them with ambulances everywhere. My daughter was still on the bus. She was sitting all the way in the back, and the paramedics told me that she needed to go to the hospital, and they told me what happened, and my jaw hit the ground. They were stopped, and a dump truck plowed into them, and
oh
2
my
kids went through the
God,
windshield. It was just mayhem, and everybody got hurt. And I said, okay, well, I'm not taking her back down to the city. There's hospitals in the city. I had one up in the country where I lived, and I figured it would be less busy, okay, and not have that many kids in it. And I went there. And within 20 minutes of being there, they scanned her right away, did x-ray scanning, CTs, and they said she has a completely straightened out cervical collar, which is not, it's supposed to be S-shaped. She whiplash,
yes,
and we got her in a collar, and they gave her pain meds, and he said, she's going to need therapy. And I said, yes, I'm an RN, I know this. And I brought her home, and my brain went, she is never riding that bus again. She is never going out of my purview again. And after about 3.5 weeks, and she was getting on her feet again and everything, I went down to the school system, to the bus shop, and I said, I'm going to be a driver. And she looked me up and down. She said, you are? And I said, yes, ma'am. And she said, okay, well,
what?
And she took me in a bus over to the softball parking lot. She said, "Let's see what you can do with this thing." She didn't understand that I was already driving big vehicles. Okay. So I did everything, and she looked at me and she said, "Well, yes, okay, you're going to be a driver." And boom, that was what I did. And my daughter was on my bus, by God. And then I thought, I can't work in two places at once. I need to stay in the school system at this point. So then I became a substitute teacher again in that school system. So after I drove the bus, I parked it at the school parking lot and walked into school. And I was with kids all day long. And I did this until I absolutely had to go back to my other job. My daughter was old enough to have a car at that time. And I said, okay, well, let's see what you can do with that. And I moved on to that. But it is so weird. Motherhood is a big deal. And I honor the fact that you're doing what you do, because I love it. I really do love it. But I had other paths to take. And it nearly broke me to have to go back the other way, because it's like they're the most precious people on the planet.
Oh my God, darling, what a story.
Well,
Motherhood is just the most amazing, wonderful, fantastic thing that I've ever experienced in my life. I totally enjoyed my pregnancy.
Yeah.
If I could, I would bring another 20. Really?
I think this is how the ETs look at us. They're kind of,
where they're babies,
feeling.
like that, we're their children, and they look at us that way. Now, I have a question. Do you feel like maybe, or do you know, have you ever been had the feeling that maybe you're the mother of more than one? In other words, you have a child here.
Up among the stars?
Yeah. Have you had that experience?
Well, my feeling is that yes, because after we tried for a while to get pregnant my boy was born through a sperm donor, and I couldn't get pregnant in a regular way. So we started IVF.
Okay.
And I was losing my pregnancies all the time.
Mm.
Now I thought it was because of the IVF, but most of the times these came also with my transportation to this Martian soil. So I cannot say 100%, I'm sure yes. The boy that I met at the beginning in the desert, well, that's, I love that boy like I love my boy.
Oh, wow.
That's the feeling. If I have other kids, I don't know.
Could be. So we only have a few minutes left. I need to ask you this because, as a writer who loves books, do you have any plans to write a book yourself? Because you could.
You think so? Oh my God.
Oh, sure. Yeah, you've had some really wonderful experiences. You're very knowledgeable on this subject. I mean, think about it, because I could help you. It's not hard to do.
Thank you so much. Wow, no, I didn't think about it, but well, now you're leaving me some homework. I will think about it. Why not?
It is a lot of work, but if you can just write a page a day, and then before you know it, you have 20, 30, 40 pages, and then only takes 100, 200 pages to have a book. And you have such a lovely outlook on this subject. There's so much knowledge. You have your own experiences, and it's another way to reach people.
Right.
So just
and you have the tools.
Think about it.
You should be able to do this, no problem. Yeah.
Thank you. I will think about it. Why not? Maybe that's the next thing.
Yeah. Now it's the information age. There's so many different ways of reaching people. I'm so delighted that you're doing podcasts and working with UFO Man. I'm a part of that group, of course. I'm just a member. Oh, no, wait, I think I'm a moderator. I might be.
You are.
Yeah.
Yes. You're in the same group, the one that the Bob Lazar group is. Are you a moderator in that group, Preston?
I am.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I see
Yes,
you in there
both
all the
are and
time.
beyond.
It's lovely
Yeah.
because there's so many Facebook groups, and there's so many of them filled with just not okay. Like
Oh
you said,
my
AI
God.
and just
Yes,
conspiracy
it's
theories.
sad. It makes me angry because we are doing such a great job trying to bring the truth,
Right.
from our experiences and whatever is going on around us. And these people are just ruining everything, the whole information and the narrative. And
Yeah.
but it will happen always. It always have happened, it will happen forever. So we just need to deal with it and just continue to fight and give the best information we can.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we probably should wrap it up right about now. We still have a few minutes, so I just want to give you an opportunity to talk about any projects you're doing, or any. No, I'll put the links that you have in our show
Thank you
notes.
so much. Well, no, my projects right now are just doing what I'm doing. I feel so happy. Um, Doing, the podcast in the UFO Man podcast and all the pages, Bob Lazar and beyond. And you will find me all over. Yeah, I'm
Yes,
trying to share the most information that I can. So, and well, try to reach me if you want to talk. I'm here. You
Yeah,
are
I'm feeling we're
amazing
gonna
guy.
have these conversations, Polly. We're gonna be talking. No,
Thank
no,
you
no. We
so
can talk to
much.
you on Messenger. There's gonna be conversations. I promise.
Of
Okay.
course.
Let's stay in
I'm
touch.
here. Whenever you need, I'm here. And I feel
Absolutely.
so honored. Thank you so much,
Oh
guys.
yeah.
You're the best.
Us too. I've been following you for a while. I was talking to Dolly about you. I'm like, we need to get her on the show. Or you told me,
Um,
Dolly. I'm not
I
sure who
told
came
you.
first.
Yeah, and then I started looking for him. Like, I have to do this, and I just went, "It's gonna happen." And then there you showed up, and I was like, "Yes, thank you." Okay, fantastic.
I am
And
so
it's gonna be
happy we made it. I am so happy.
absolutely, absolutely. And the powers that be have kept us on air with you without interruption. I'm very grateful for that too. That's a blessing.
Yes,
You know,
yes, it
It's
is.
hard to
It is
find
a
people who,
blessing.
have your attitude of, let's just be objective about this. Let's be open. Let's be loving. Let's find the truth. Because
absolutely.
there's, not a lot of
Yeah,
researchers like that, honestly.
yeah.
So you're on my short list of really good researchers. So
Yes.
thank you.
Oh,
And he
no,
wasn't talking
thank
about the book. He
you.
really wants you to write a book now. No kidding. You're going to hear about it.
Yes. Oh,
Awesome, we will make it. I think, yeah, wow. I think I have great ideas from this conversation. I love you so much.
Okay.
aw.
No, really, it's like you are a blessing. You are a blessing in my life. Just know that. Thank you so much for your love and support. I don't have enough words, really.
That's what we're all supposed to be about, right? We're here for each other, you know?
Yes,
And,
exactly.
and when you
That's
see
the message.
this, when it's coming at you and you see it, don't ignore it. Go for it, that, and what you
Yeah,
body, you do yourself as well. So it's awesome. Thank you so
that's
much, Polly, for coming on with us and giving us your story. It does take a lot of true faith and knowledge and understanding that there's nothing wrong with telling the truth about life and what really goes on in it, and teaching what that is. We all are teachers. We all have something to say or teach, sometimes
yeah.
both. And it's important that we have the courage to step forward. Thank you for that very much.
I
You
have
know,
to say, this has been one of my favorite shows. There's just something really lovely about you.
Mm,
I had so much
thank
fun.
you.
We talked to a lot of people. We really have over 100 shows, and this was just amazing.
I know this was easy balls. I didn't even see the time go by when he said it's getting, and I looked at the clock and I was like, oh my God, we're getting close. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I feel we can talk for hours. Yes, we can make it. We will do it again.
Yes,
Yes,
I would
definitely.
also like you to invite you to be in chat live with us on Monday night, if you can,
Of
if it's
course.
possible. And
Of
That'd be like
course.
the middle of the night for you, though, wouldn't it?
Oh, it's fine. I'm used to it. You know, work needs to be done. I'll be there even if it's 3 o'clock. I'll be there.
because
All
our
right.
chat people are awesome, and they're going to be asking questions, and they're fast typers, most of them. And I have a feeling that as from this point of view to that one Monday night, when we're all sitting in there, it's going to be, whoa, a lot of people are going to come
Our
up.
audience is just really wonderful. They're
It's
really wonderful
beautiful.
people. So.
It's beautiful. Amen for that, really. Yes. Awesome. Of course. I will see you there, guys.
All right.
Well, thanks, Polly. This was awesome.
Thank
I really
you.
appreciate
Take
it.
care. Huge hug. And let's keep sharing. I love
All
it.
right.
Absolutely.
All
Absolutely.
right. I just want to say hi to all you guys in chat. I know that this is a pre-record, but we're going to try to interact with you as much as, well, we will. Not try.
Yeah, we'll be there.
There's
We'll
no
be there.
try. There's only do, as Yoda says.
I'm gonna be sitting there with a keyboard in my lap, sitting back typing, so it'll be fun.
Yeah.
All right, Dolly, I guess it's time to bring us out, as sad as it is.
All right, Polly, stay on the air with us for a few minutes, even after we hang up. Okay, I'll
Okay.
do this. Thank you, everybody, for coming with us on this beautiful Monday night on the Light Gate. From the past into the future, I thank you very much for being with us. And we are coming to you live from the beautiful city of New Orleans in Louisiana at the UFO Paranormal United Public Radio Network at 107.7 FM and the UFO Paranormal Radio Network at 105.3 FM. We are on Facebook, we're on Roku, we are on Rumble, and we are on YouTube. We thank you all very much for coming. Mwah. Namaste, and bless you all, and we will see you next week. Thank you.
Bye.